go. Thank you, Gina. Let's see. Is Teresa on here, Zocchi? Okay, I saw her say she joined the room early, but let's see. Okay. I want to pull up something and share it on my screen real quick with you, and that's what I'm working on right now. Hold on really quickly. Okay, here we go. Now, I know that a lot of you will have, will have probably have seen some of this, but I really want to share my screen about an email that my wife concocted that really kind of put me in a tizzy, if you will, with checking in on my mindset about what happens. Now, today's our first Friday of the month. This is the latest, of course, that the first Friday of the month can be, the 7th. And that's because, the last day of last month was a Friday. So we have, when I have often myself, and I think all of us here have thought about resolutions, about changing our habits. And, I taught a lot of business planning clinics before the end of the year. I taught business planning clinic 33 times between September and the end of December. I don't say that like to pat me on the back. I say that because, excuse me, I say it because every time we're doing business planning clinic, we're talking about how do we dream big? How do we set goals? All of the different things. And the one thing that I've definitely come to know is there's no right or wrong way to set goals. So let me just show you a couple of these words here that says, this is what Casey researched and found. A new poll of 2,000 Americans found that it takes just 32 days for the average person to finally break their resolution, but that 68% of those people gave up much earlier than 32 days. In fact, 1 out of 7 Americans don't actually even believe that they'll see their resolution through. So they're admitting defeat before do it. So why set a goal or a resolution, whatever you want to call it, a goal and a resolution are the same, if you're already intentionally sabotaging yourself? This was so shocking to me. One of our favorite books, and that is mine and Casey's, is a book called Willpower Doesn't Work by Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And she goes on to say, the study conducted by one poll in conjunction with Crispy Green also discovered the why behind our failure to keep our resolutions. The top reason our resolutions don't stick is a self-aware lack of discipline, which again goes to self-sabotage, meaning I know what I need to do if I set this resolution to have it come through, and I already know I'm not willing to do it. 52%, followed by busy schedules and lacking the proper time to see them through. There's no such thing as lacking the proper time. It's making the proper time. We all have the exact same amount of time, 24 hours a day, right? 168 hours in a week. Where are those going, right? Where are those 168 hours a week going? Then it says 2 out of 5, which is what, 40%, also point to a societal and peer pressure as a big reasons their resolutions are cut short. Again, self-sabotage. This is, have you ever done, any of you ever done something out of peer pressure? Okay, like it was tough. I've never done drugs, ever, any kind. It's not a big deal, doesn't make me better or worse than anyone else. I used to think that all of the jihad kids, when I was younger, there was 5 kids, me and my 2 brothers and 2 sisters. And I just assumed we were all goody 2-shoes, right? Let me tell you a quick story. We're sitting at a wedding. I'm in my late 30s. So my youngest brother is in his early 30s. My older sister is, I think had just turned 40 or was 41 or 42. And there's 10 of us at this big round table. That's the 5 kids and their spouses. And we're sitting at this table, and something came up. Somebody came up and said something, wow, look at all the 5G kids all together. And I don't know how it came up, but somebody said something about doing drugs. And I said, oh, none of us have ever done drugs. And my other brothers and sisters all started cracking up, all of them, at me. And they leaned in and said, wait, you've still never done drugs, Rick? And I said, no. I said, I thought none of you guys had done drugs too. And my brother Timmy said, I just did a line of Coke before the wedding. And then my brother David said, I just had a joint, like I was stunned. But the reason I bring that up is because I had never given in to the peer pressure that you needed to do that. In fact, I think somebody muted everybody and I got muted too. Did you all hear what I just said? Can somebody give me a thumbs up or say something that you heard what I just said? Yes. Okay, Julie. Thank you, Julie. That I had never given into it. And I asked my younger brother, who was kind of a tough kid, like really tough, like he could beat people up and things. I said, did you give into peer pressure? He goes, no, I've actually been the peer pressure for a lot of people to, try drugs. So it was really amusing to me at that stage. Now here I am at 64 and I still haven't done any drugs, right? I mean, unless you call alcohol a drug, which I have done that on a regular, partly regular basis. So, but that's the whole thing, is peer and societal pressure as a big reason, when all of these are things we control. Remember that giving into peer pressure on something you don't want to do is it's the same as being lazy. Whatever. Yeah, let's try it. Yeah. Now, if you electedly did it, said, yep, I know what I'm doing, I've thought about it, and it's time I give this a try. Or I know what I'm doing, and I'm going to go ahead and break my resolution. And, if I look at my oldest son, Anthony, he's 35 and a half years old, been married 5.5 years. And every January 1st, him and his wife go on this thing called Whole30, which is a very clean diet for 30 straight days. They drop alcohol, they drop, I think, red meat, I don't know, all kinds of things, and they really go clean. Now, the rest of the year, she loves champagne and wine, he loves beer. They both work out a lot, but that's their resolution, to get through the month of January on Whole30 and not cheat a bit. And we don't call it cheating anymore. We call it choosing, because if you know you're doing it, you're choosing it, not cheating. So the reason I bring this up, let's go on to this real quick, and then I'll get off this page. The 2021 version of you is not going to be the person that progresses into your 2022 goals and dreams. So what's the answer? Dr. Marshall Goldsmith said, we do not create and control our environment creates and controls us. Now, some of you have heard me say this, but in the beginning of 2017, my wife and I were going on a regime, which was eat this way. It wasn't to lose weight. It was to make sure that our insides were healthy, that all of our organs were operating at high level. We went to a functional medicine doctor. It was a bit of an investment, but we were making an investment in our own longevity, as we felt. And as a result of eating exactly as these doctors prescribed, we both lost a freaking ton of weight. My wife lost like 40 pounds in 6 months, and I lost 30 pounds in 6 months. And I was down to like 163, about another 10 pounds lighter than I am right now. And we definitely looked, in the eyes of a lot of people, including my family, way too skinny. But we did not, like when we would go into the doctor for our visits once a month, she'd say, okay, write down where you veered. She didn't say cheated or chose. She said where you veered from the instructed diet. And we go through the questions and we go, oh, they were all no, we didn't veer at all. Again, discipline. But what helps discipline is, what are you surrounding yourself with? When we started that diet, we knew what date we were starting it, because we had to wait for all the supplements to come in. So while we're waiting for all the supplements to come in, guess what? We were just pigging out, right? Eating on everything we could eat, sweets, whatever. And we had a trip to go see my sister in Lincoln. So we packed up everything in the house that wasn't on that list of what our food would be. Everything, potato chips, candy, chocolates, everything you can imagine. even things that aren't that unhealthy for you, but we're not allowed on this diet. For instance, on this particular diet, we weren't allowed tomatoes. So we packed up all our tomatoes. Everything went over to my sister. She goes, "What's this?" And I said, "Just, we got a lot of food. We're not going to be able to use it for the next year. We're going to be on this diet for a year, or this regime." So that's why I say it changed the environment. So when I did get to crave something, I couldn't find something to handle that craving. So there I created an environment that would support my success. Now, let's see. If we do not create, set yourself up, crumbly, grow. So here she writes about the book, and your environment is the single most influential factor in your success. All right. Now let's see. All right. I stopped sharing because I like seeing your faces more, and this is what I want to bring up about this, is that as we become our own saboteurs. And what that means is it's not necessarily always on purpose. It's relaxing into my normal day. If you start relaxing, or what we call going back to my quote unquote normal self, then you are allowing sabotage to happen to yourself, because human beings naturally, nothing to do with you, there is a way to control it, I'll show you, have 87% of their thoughts are negative. Now, I'm hoping that some of this for some of you is new, some of it isn't new. You say, "Oh, maybe I've heard this before," but I have to tell you that I fight with this every single day. And people say, "Well, Rick, what you've created over the past 40, I created a lot for the first 30 years I was in real estate, and then lost all of it and a lot more." Okay, so I look back and I say, where did I self-sabotage? The only way to learn from what went differently than you planned, right? So I'm speaking very carefully because I want you to notice I didn't use the word wrong. I didn't use the word good or bad. I said, what could I learn from what went differently than I expected it to, right? What would I normally say? Gosh, what can I learn from going broke and all of that crap that happened in my life? Those are all words of judgment. Do you get that? And there's so many people on here who I've spoken to on a regular basis. Like there's people on here that I know, adore. When I look at your faces, I know that you and I have spoken and we've struggled with the same things. All right. It's like I said in one of the business planning clinics that I did recently, I said, I got kind of in their face on Zoom. I literally went in like this, and I was teaching to a class in Minnesota by Zoom. And I said, we're approaching the holidays. I remember what it was. It was like, I think it was late November or something, or mid-November. And they said that there was 39 more business days in the year. Is there something like that? 39 more business days in the year. And you all know what business days are. Those are any day that's not a holiday, weekend, or holiday or a weekend. So I started counting. Well, then I said on my call that actually we have about, and I think it was 50 something total days left in the year. And I said, for you to create a bigger difference from now till December 31st, you have to take care of your crap. And when I said that, what I was talking about, and I said something that struck a nerve with everybody, I said, and I said, this is an example, but if you're in a fight with your mom and you're not talking, guess what? That's keeping you from selling more real estate. I said, take care of your crap. I'd rather you be wrong and be rich than be right and have no relationships and not sell a lot of houses. So that little sentence right there contributed a lot to several people in the room, including me, ending up crying on the call, right? Like I'm the guy doing the call and I was kind of sniffing but what happened is for a lot of people, it started to realize that you don't, whatever you do or are planning on doing, whether it's I'm going to exercise, I'm going to eat differently, I'm going to sell more houses, I'm going to lead generate more, whatever those are, they are going to be affected by how you do everything else. It's not in a vacuum. The way I sell real estate is the way I do everything. So don't tell me, oh yeah, me and my wife aren't talking right now, but we'll get it fixed. But I got to go sell houses. Guess what? It's going to hinder your ability to do what you need to do to sell more houses. What do we all need to do to sell more houses? Lead generate more. Would you agree? It's very simple. If I'm going to sell more houses, I need more leads. It doesn't even matter what your conversion rate is. If you convert 6 out of every 10 leads you get, then you know I need, this many more leads. So what do I got to do? When you're looking at those lists, we are all of us, this is not exclusive to any one person, not race, not culture, not sexual preference, none of that, guys. It's all about activities. When you say I'm going to do this, then you're going to set a list. So let me give you an example. We know that our environment is very important. We just said that. So willpower doesn't work, because if your environment, we had this one guy every year sends us this box of chocolates. Have any of you guys ever heard of Norman Love chocolates? I'd love to hear if you've heard of these. Norman Love. Anyone? No hands up? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, Cindy, you have? Did I get them for you one year, or did you?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So the most sinfully amazing chocolates. My wife has said they're expensive, but I've never paid for them or even ordered them. She's always done the ordering. So I don't know what they cost, but it comes with a diagram, and the chocolates are all shaped hearts and squares and circles and diamonds. It's beautiful. And they all are sprinkled, and you have to read what's in them before you bite into them. And there's this little picture thing that says, oh, this one is this and this one is that. Well, there's still, like, last night I ate 3 of them, and they weren't even the flavors that I would normally eat, but they just looked so pretty. And I'm using that as an excuse to get rid of them. Oh, well, I have to get rid of them, so I've got to eat them. Has anyone ever done that? Yeah, don't raise your hand, but I know you've all done that, right? So if that wasn't there, then I would have wandered around and not found anything, because literally there's no other chocolate in the house besides that, right? So the main thing that I want you to understand is setting up that environment, because how many of you have been super motivated to start eating differently in the morning? For instance, one of the things I've learned in all these years that I've been researching diets and everything is that the best thing you can start your morning with is protein. All right. So for years, Sylvia, sorry, I was distracted by the chat. So for years, I would get up, and the first thing I would do is have protein. I would typically be a chicken breast or a chicken thigh. And that starts your what do they call it, metabolism engine, if you start with protein. And people will disagree. I don't really care. It worked really well for me. I'd have protein, and I'd have about 6 almonds and a little bit of avocado. So got my healthy fats, got my protein, got some greens, things like that. And I took supplements too. So, but when people tell you, oh, it's grain-free and gluten-free and, this and that. So I've been eating once in a while with oat milk. I've been having a little bowl of granola that has less than 5 grams of natural sugar, fruit sugar, whatever, and then and some oat milk. And it's like fulfilling a need. I only have one little bowl. I don't get stuff. Like when I used to eat, Cocoa Puffs, I would eat 3 bowls of Cocoa Puffs. So, and I'm using this as an example because we, as a real estate community, don't want to hear. I've done the research. Don't want to hear about lead generation, but it's exactly identical to how you handle what you need to do to create a different result this year in your business. Now, some of you might say, "Oh, I got leads. That's not a problem. My problem is consistency or conversion or follow-up, whatever it is. It's all around the subject of lead generation." And if you say that lead generation covers the subjects of nurturing, conversion, follow-up, tracking, all of those things. And some of you on here might say, "Gosh, I wish I had leads," right? The fact is, we all have tons of leads just sitting in our phone. We just have to go call them. But back on the subject of spoiling our resolution. When I was doing business planning, those are good emojis for that. When I was doing the business planning clinic, this is what I'd say. There's a section of the business planning clinic where it says, for every single goal you set, you have to ask yourself 3 questions. So I think almost every one of you here has taken a business planning clinic. If not, there are recordings of it on the same link that has the recordings of these free Friday coaching calls. There's a thing in there where it says for every goal, put the goal, write the goal at the top. Whatever it is, would you agree that goals occupy your mind if they're a big goal? Yes or no? Like if you told everybody this was your goal, every morning it's going to wake up and bother you, or it's going to put pressure on you. So if you have a goal and you consider it to be important, then the three questions are, number one, why? Write these down, guys. Why? Why is this goal important to me? And if you don't come up with an answer that's satisfactory, right there is a hint that maybe I should crumple up this goal and throw it out, like not waste my energy on it. Does this make sense? Dewey, I'll put some stuff in the where is Gina still on here? I can't see. Let's see. No, Gina's not on there. Cindy, would you do me a favor, Cindy, and put Gina's email in the chat box? And Dewey, you email Gina, my assistant, say, I want to be on the free coaching call emails, okay?
Yeah,
all right.
I'll take care of it.
Thanks, Cindy. All right, so the first question is why? Why is this goal important to me? The second question, what have been my excuses for failure in this area of this goal in the past? Why have I not ever done this? Because if it's a goal now, the likelihood is that you've thought about it for a lot of years, or for at least a lot of time, and it's now come to where I'm going to make this a goal to do this. Now, you guys are free to come off mute and interrupt me anytime, because I think when you have a question about what I'm saying, it's quicker to just not put it in the chat, just speak it out loud. Everybody will most likely say, oh, that's a good question. I want to know the answer to that too. So when you do that, you have to think about this. So think about the goal. Like I've never in 41 and a half years of selling houses taken 100 listings in 1 year, something I've always wanted to do. So it's been a constant goal, 100 listings in 1 year. And I know I can look myself in the mirror and say, I have not done the activities on a daily basis that would get me to them, even if it's a goal. So that's a tough realization. But here's the thing. If I'm asking myself, what have been my excuses for failure, I'm going to write them down. Not making the time, not putting the time in my calendar and sticking to it to do this. And then I might ask myself, well, why am I not making the time? Well, because I have other goals that sometimes are prioritized over those, things like that. Like I'm really taking it down to a freaking science. Question number 3, remember question 1 was why is this goal important to me? Question number 2, what have been my excuses for failure? And question number 3, what is my resolve? There's that word again. Resolution comes from the word resolve. What do I resolve to do differently so that I will reach this goal? Now, once that goal is a goal, then you will set a list of activities that I must do to win the goal. If I don't hit my goal, that is not good, bad, right, or wrong, folks. It is not good, bad, right, or wrong. It's just, it didn't happen. But I have to also look at, okay, but when I set the goal, I made this list of activities that if I do these activities, I will most likely hit the goal. If I look at the list of activities and I did that list of activities and didn't reach the goal, I cannot be attached to the result. I got to say, I'm going to change the activities next time, but I did them all. I kept my word to myself. All of these things are vital. Every little thing I just said, keeping your word to yourself. If you say you're going to get up in the morning and not eat chocolate for breakfast, then get one morning where you didn't eat chocolate for breakfast, right? Then you won. How many of you, you all heard me joke about this, but it's like brushing your teeth. How many of you congratulate yourself every day that you get up and remember to brush your teeth? Well, I hope it's almost every single freaking day, right? But have you ever drank a toast to yourself? Here's to 9,553 days in a row of brushing my teeth. You know, congratulations. But why don't you give yourself credit for that? But if you woke up every single day and made one phone call towards the benefit of your real estate business, one phone call a day, and you sent them a handwritten note thanking them for the phone call, whether they answered or not, and you put that person in and tracked it and went on and called them again a few months later, think how much different your life would be. You'd say, oh, I made 30 calls in a month. Well, do you know that 30 calls in a month puts you better than 95% of real estate agents in the lead generation area? One call a day. And what I tell people is like, if I challenge myself to do one push-up every day, well, I already got down on my hands and knees and got up on my arms and toes. I'm going to do one and get up. I'm already down here. I might as well see how many I can do, right? So all of those things are lessons I've personally gone through. From hating push-ups, still hating them, but doing them every single day, right? All of those things happened because I was able to break it down to something much more simple for me. What will be the result if I do it versus what will be the result if I don't do it? So all you have to do is say, you've all heard, do you have good habits or bad habits? I'm not a fan of using those words. Are your habits effective? Meaning, are they getting you where you want to go? Or are your habits ineffective? They're not getting you where you want to go. This way, you're not judging yourself. You're not beating up on yourself. You're just saying, I know I said I would eat like this and I'm eating like this. So my current eating habits are not getting me where I want to go. Now, many of you, and I'd love it if one of you would tell me that you are or aren't this, are all or nothing people. When you cheat on your meals, you go freaking over the top. You go, no,
I'm all or nothing.
Who's that, Sylvia? Yeah, I could have guessed that about you. But like for me, am I gonna have one piece of baklava or am I gonna eat the entire plate of baklava? But I have actually worked myself from being the guy who ate sleeves of Oreos. Listen, I'm talking about in the 90s in my first marriage, I would eat sleeves of Oreo cookies while watching the 11 o'clock news. Okay. I don't do either.
Continue on River Road for 1 mile, then turn right onto.
Okay. So I have, if you think about that, I don't do that. I don't watch the news anymore. I stopped watching the news in the later 90s, and then I don't eat sleeves of Oreos anymore. Do I still like Oreos? Yes, but I avoid them because if I'm going down the aisle and I find Oreos in the grocery store, I will usually get up to the register and the package will be empty. And I will give them to the lady and say, here, scan this. I already ate them. That's how bad I am about Oreos, right? So you have to think about what you can do. Now, here's how I'm going to end the call. We got a few more minutes, though. We're not ending right now. I want you all to be thinking about a question you can ask me to help you push yourself forward or away from habits that aren't getting you what you want. But here's what I want to remind you. That understanding all of what you do and don't do, that what works and what doesn't work, you have to kind of put that in perspective. Where at the beginning of the year, you might even ask yourself, today's the 7th, how many things have I done this year already that haven't been what I said I would show up or do or be? Right? How many of you have done that? If you're an all or nothing person, the first step is to say, if I'm an all or nothing person, could I be all of the things that work for me? Okay. Could I be all of the things that work for me and none of the things that don't? Well, that would be a little unreasonable to think that you're going to break up all your habits. I had a friend of mine who had a website called 50/50 many years ago. It's gone now, but she would basically preaching to people that when you sit down to breakfast, eat a half a slice of toast instead of the whole slice, like everywhere. And when you go to the grocery store, park in the very back of the parking lot and walk to the grocery store. Little things like that she was showing you that you can inch by inch, really slowly make differences in your life. I remember my late brother, he passed away many years ago, but he was a Coke fanatic. And he lost 18 pounds in a month just by eliminating his Cokes during the day, just his Cokes. That's all he did. He changed nothing else. This is years ago. But the whole idea is that there are little things we can do that we can build on. We build on them, okay? So let me give you an example. How many of you could subscribe to doing one call a day? Yell it out or raise your hand. Okay, so when I tell people that, they go, oh, I can make one call a day. And I say, okay, but remember, if we're talking about someone who's in real estate, you maybe get a pad of yellow paper, or maybe you have some technical app that you can use. But every time you make the call, if you have their physical address, they get a handwritten note. If you don't have their physical address, or you have their text or their email, then you text them or email them saying, hey, it was great talking to you on the phone. I really enjoyed hearing about how your daughter graduated from college, da, 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 da. If you didn't get them, meaning if you left a voicemail, they still get the handwritten note, the text, or the email. Remember, first choice is handwritten note. Then you have to track it, go into your calendar. Okay. Yes, for certain people, text does count. Okay. But even giving a try, even if you know they're not phone people, maybe you don't believe they'll actually listen to a voicemail, but you can still give the call an attempt because they'll see a missed call. Most cases they will. Those are all beneficial things to what we call touches, or the people believing you're reaching out. All of these things are vital, but if you're not willing to do the supporting stuff, then it makes it a waste of time. I'm gonna not mention name because it's an unusual first name for a lady. So, but this lady is in the Eugene, Oregon market, and we've been friends for a lot of years, like for almost 14 years. And I really watched and focused on her battle with cancer. She was making everything about it public on Facebook, and I was really amazed at how she handled the beating cancer. And it was about a 4-year process for her. Anyway, she's, obviously always never stopped selling real estate. It's been her main income. And she called me the other day and was like in a tizzy. She goes, I sold 30 houses in 2020. I just only sold 16 in 2021. I've got nothing going. And so I said, do you give me permission to be a coach right now? And she said, yeah. So I said, okay, this is not your friend Rick right now. This is your coach. And we started talking. And she sends out these little cards. They're like little mini credit cards every month to her database. She has about 500 people on the database. And these mini cards say, you get a free this month at this place. And they're all stores and shops in the Eugene area. She either gets a discount on something or you get something free. And I said, 500 people get this? I said, I hope that you're doing this, but it sounds like you're not. Are you calling 40 people a month who get it? And she goes, I don't know. What are you talking about? 40 people. I said, you've got 500. That's about 40 a month. If you called 40 people a month and said, hey, it's me. Are you getting that little card? Well, you're not. Are you throwing it out? You need to check. There's some really good discounts. How have you been? Right? Obviously, she has their physical address if they're getting mailed this card. And she's not doing that. And she said, oh my gosh, Rick, that sounds overwhelming. I said, 40 calls a month is overwhelming. I said, what is wrong with you? You've been in real estate 23 years. So I was trying to get her to do something. This was literally a few days before New Year's. And I said, let me ask you this. You sold 16 homes this year. Can I challenge you in the next 2 or 3 days to call all 16 people that you sold a home to and just say, it's me. How are you? And she said, I could do that. She goes, but today I'm running all kinds of errands. So can I do that tomorrow? I said, in the next couple of days. I said, but before we hang up, we're going to have the exact day and time that you'll be done with it. It's only 16 phone calls. She said, okay, I can do that. And I said, could I ask you one more favor? And she said, yeah. I said, could I get you to make at least one phone call today? Preferably 2, but at least 1. She goes, yeah. And I said, do you have any like leads that have been ghosting you or not responding that you felt were a good lead? She goes, well, I know of one. I had this referral and I've called her and texted her over 2 months and never heard back. And I said, okay, perfect. Call that person. Later that day, I get a text from her. She goes, oh my gosh, Rick, I made one phone call today and I have a listing appointment and then we're going to go out and look at homes. I pick up the phone, I call her. I go, are you kidding me right now? She goes, no, remember that lead I was telling you about that's been ghosting me? I said, she answered the phone. She said this, she goes, she answered the phone and apologized to me for all the times I've left messages and texted her and she's not responded. And then she told me, I definitely want to buy, but I have to sell my house first. One phone call. Now, I know, is that freaky? Yes. Is it weird? Yes. Is it going to happen to everybody? Absolutely not. But you made one phone call. See, here's the main thing. The universe slash God, you call it what you want. I call it God. Some people call it the universe, but the universe is paying attention to what you're saying and what you're doing. And when you're saying this, but doing this, the universe slash God are not actually paying attention to rewarding you, because your word is different than your actions. It's called lying to yourself. I know you don't like hearing that powerful word called lying, but that's what it is. Honey, you know, this pot belly of mine, I'm going to get up tomorrow morning and start running. Tomorrow's going to be different, right? And honey's not listening because she's sound asleep. So really no one knows but you that you committed to running tomorrow morning. So when you wake up early in the morning to go run and it's a little cold out and it was a little earlier than you normally get up, and you go, okay, no one knows I was going running, so I'll just turn off the alarm and go back to sleep. Well, guess what? And Marlise, the only reason you're laughing so much is because you do this too, is the universe has registered. It's like a chisel and a sledgehammer that every time you tell yourself you're going to do something and you don't do it, it's like chiseling away at your self-esteem. Your integrity and your self-esteem are connected. When you say you're going to do something to yourself and you don't do it, there's your integrity. Well, there goes your self-esteem. All right. So that's why I say start small. Like with Timmy, my late brother, who died many years ago, on that Coke idea, someone had taught him that. It wasn't me. I had not even heard of that concept before, but start small. Just eliminate one thing from your diet. And he eliminated Coke. All right. Now, this is a guy that at 10:30 p.m. often was found at Jack in the Box buying a double, what would they call it? A double jumbo jack? A double jumbo jack at 10:30, 11 at night through the drive-through. But he gave up on Coke, right? So the main thing is that you build these little victories so that you can say, look, I said I'd do this and I did it. And that's why making one call a day breaks it down to the sublime. Now, if I was in front of Tom Ferry, Gary Keller, Mike Ferry, Viral Workman, the guy that owns the coaching company I coach for, they go, what are you, an idiot? Are you an idiot telling people to make one call a day? I'd rather you do one than none. All right. My son, Joey, who's not like Anthony. Joey's heavier, bigger. He'll eat everything and anything that gets in his way. We call Joey built for comfort. Anthony's built for speed. So at one point in Joey's life, this is many years ago, he was playing some football and playing baseball, and he wanted to do more pull-ups. And I said, Joe, I challenge you to do at least one pull-up a day. And he goes, I can do that. And I go, great, do one pull-up a day. And I said, while you're up there, if you feel like doing more, do more. He did it for 89 days in a row without breaking the chain. 89 days in a row. The lowest he did in one day was 3. The most he did in one day was 16. He lost 11 pounds. He changed nothing, didn't eat differently or anything, but in those 89 days, he lost 11 pounds. He has no idea how or why. Okay. The least he did was 3. The most he did was 16. And he didn't break the chain, meaning I don't know how it happened, but on day 89, it's apparently on day 90, he forgot or went to sleep without doing them, right? And so that's the idea. The goal was to do 1, but he never did less than 3, okay? And he did calculate his average, that his average was 7 a day, even though his goal was 1. Little victories can make such a big difference in your own internal mindset, as long as the little victory is moving you closer to this goal, dream, or person you are becoming. All right. So don't forget, all humans lie to themselves 7 to 10 times a day, men twice as much. And I mean that. I'm not saying it to be funny. There's not a lot of men on here on this call today. I've noticed that's highly unusual. We usually have a lot of men also. But what I want you to think about is this. When you commit to your friend to do something, in about 99% of the cases, you do it. But that is not true about when you commit to yourself to do something. So you have to, when I said that's the last part I want to tell you about, is you have to pay attention to your demons and your crap. You have to know that if you're the kind of person who breaks your word to yourself, then set up alarms, set up fire alarms, set up people to shake you out of that. How many people of you every once in a while, and don't answer this, just think about the answer for yourself. You find yourself during the day with your head kind of dropping, your brow furrows a little bit, maybe even when you're driving and you're leaning in like this, and the music's on or the radio's on and you don't even hear it. That's going to happen to you. And if you had to stop in that moment, if somebody caught you in that moment and shook you out of it and said, why are you so grumpy right now, or frumpy, or furrowed brow? You wouldn't necessarily know why. You wouldn't necessarily be able to pinpoint it. That happened to me a lot in my years of financial struggles. And so what I would do is I'd set 6 alarms a day, 6. And each alarm had a different song attached to it. That was a song that I knew would make my foot start tapping, make me smile, or make me remember a better time. 6 alarms a day, because I know my demons. What do you know about yourself that you can get others that care and love you to help you break out of? I don't want you being one of those 1 out of 7 who sets a resolution and already says, I'm not getting there, I'm just setting it. My friend wanted me to set a resolution. I have no doubt that I will screw that baby right up. What? Why waste your time? I am finally learning at 64 years old to surrender the things that I know I will not do. I will not commit to those. I'll say it because it sounds good, but I won't do it. So why even say it? Right? My sister makes the best fried chicken in the world. She makes it 1 day a year on the 23rd of December. We go play Topgolf. We go to my sister's. We eat fried chicken. She made a ton this year, and 2 families backed out of coming. So that was a total of about 13 people. Most of her family, us, all of us, we like thighs and legs more than we like breasts. There's about a few who still like the breasts when she doesn't. But between the night of the 23rd and the morning of the night of the 26th, I ate 21 chicken thighs, fried chicken thighs. Because I don't go to my sister's house going, well, it's fried chicken, I should only have a few. No, I go, I'm going to eat her out of house and home. Okay. Then I keep my word to myself. Right. She goes, well, how many did you take to go when you left? I said 10. Right. Because we were there the 23rd and the 24th. So on the morning of the 24th, I had 4 thighs with breakfast. I had 7 the night of the 23rd. And then I took 10 with me. I'm just saying, know your demons, right? You know you're going to a place that has amazing donuts. I'm a donut freak. I'm going to say I'm having a donut, 1, right? Or 2 or 3, whatever, I'm going to commit to it. But I'm also, when I say I'm not going to, then I'm not. And it's tough, right? Now take all of that and say, Rick's really only been talking about me having a better year this year than I had last year. Okay? All I hope that you got out of today is that you're going to pick one thing and do differently. Maybe it's I'm not going to lie to myself anymore. And the way to do that is not commit to doing things that I know I'm not going to do. And the things I really, really want to do, I'll commit to them, and I'll go through hell to get there. All right? Don't be the majority. Be the minority. Be the above average. All right? It's comfortable, very comfortable, cozy to just do what everybody else is doing. I don't think you'd be on this call if that's who you were. All right. That's all I got for you. I've got about 2 or 3 minutes where I can ask you if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, ahas. I'd love to hear them. I'll check the chat now. Yes. Yes. Debbie Jensen. That's good. Does text count? Yes, it does. Remember, touches. If you called somebody and left them a voicemail and then you sent them a handwritten note, that's 2 touches. They got home, they saw the handwritten note. Guess what they're thinking about? When they think about real estate, they're going to be thinking about you. All right. The lady that I challenged to do the 16 calls of the people that she sold homes to in 2021 this year, she said, do I talk about real estate? I go, no. You sold them their house. They know you're in real estate. Just say, how are you doing? Okay. If they need to talk about real estate, it'll get there. And if they turn around and say, how are you doing? You go, well, I didn't have my best year ever, but I had a good year. I'm very grateful for it. By the way, do you know of anybody thinking about buying or selling this year? Right? They open the door for you. You step in. All right. Anybody with a question, comment, thought?
Hey, Rick,
Yes.
I just want to say thank you so much. I had a previous engagement every Friday at 9:30, and I was not able to. Sorry, not able to jump on the call, and I'm so glad to be back. My biggest takeaway that I just loved is, are my habits effective? I mean, I think that just sums up this whole amazing call, and I love you and I appreciate you and I thank you.
You're welcome, sweetheart. And I love you too. Thank you for being on. It's always a compliment when you're on. So, all right. Anybody else before we end?
Rick?
Yeah. Lorena, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, that's exactly just like Sylvia said. Are my habits effective? And we have a habit for everything that we do, and some things do solve problems, and some actually create more problems. So that was really good. Thank you.
My pleasure, sweetie. Oh, I'm not.
Rick, all I want to say is thank you very much and a very happy new year. This was one of the best sessions ever.
Thank you, Lucky, very much. All right. Anyone else? Hi, Sonia. Hi, Sonia.
Hi, this is Julie. Actually, I'm in the East Coast.
Yes. Hi, Julie. How are you?
This was my first call and very powerful. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Are you a real estate agent?
Yes, I am a real estate agent under Anna Abitamarco.
Oh, one of my favorite people in the world. Tell her I said hi.
Yes, I will. And I'm in the East Coast in Downingtown, Pennsylvania.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, I always heard from her the good things about you. And I'm like, you know what, it's free calls and why not? I'm joining. Finally, I joined that Empire Builder Pro. So
Nice.
Definitely going to learn a lot from you, all of you.
All right.
I'm a newer agent, just 1 year completed in real estate. This is my second.
Good. Well, I hope this year is your best year ever. Congratulations.
Yeah, last year was also really great. I hit my cap with the XP, and so definitely going forward, doubling the last year's goals. So let's see how that works. I know
Congratulations.
I will make it happen. So
I'm sure you will. Good. Sonia, were you trying to say something, hon? I know you came on late. But...
Actually, I've been on the call. Unfortunately, I can't use Zoom on my cell phone.
That's right. You were on the phone. I remember you seeing your number. That's right.
Yeah. You really make me want to eat Cocoa Puffs right now and chocolate. And I love the one call thing. I mean, it's something super easy. In fact, I've been doing magazines for the last year and a half. And I think that the biggest issue that I have is the follow-up on the phone. And it does make a huge difference. So I'm gonna implement that.
Good. All right. Good to see your face, and thanks for being on.
Thanks.
All right. Anybody else?
I want to say something, Rick. I just want to say thank you very much for the call. And I just felt like all the way that you were talking to me. and I also really like the one thing I think is really doable. And it's not the big thing that we are after. It's the small little thing that eventually will make a big difference. So thank you so much.
You're welcome, Janet. Always a pleasure to see you. All right. Anyone else?
Hi, Casey. Thanks, Rick.
You're
It's
welcome.
Teresa.
You saw her run in here.
I did, yeah.
Nancy Muldoon, good to see you, sweetie. I hope we'll see you more often. And all of you guys, Sarah McReynolds, Ram. It's great to have you all on. And we'll be back on what's 2 weeks from today, the 21st. So, all right. Take care, everybody. Adios.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.